Shelley here, and welcome to my new backyard. A.B. May just left a little while ago, and all in all, the guys did an amazing job. It didn't, I was expecting it to take more than one day, but it didn't. They just left a little while ago. Got here a little bit before 8, and got down to business and dug up my old decrepit sewer, and now I've got a brand new $10,000 sewer. It's, they used the green PVC pipe, so and they put in a nice clean out over here by the door, and you'll see that here in a few photos in a little bit. We'll cut to some video and we'll cut to some photos, but this is kind of a different behind the scenes. Hopefully you can hear me on the microphone here. It's a little bit breezy today, or I would have maybe flown a drone over and got some aerials, but just a bit breezy. So anyway, they ended up coming through that little opening in the fence down there with their excavator. That's what I'm trying to say. They brought the excavator up through there. They had to go take it to the street and then have it fight its way through all of the stuff there. And it's breezy out here, and I don't have a dead cat for this microphone, just this little foam thing, so I hope you can hear me. But anyway, they had to come up that way because my wonderful neighbor over here wouldn't allow the truck to come through on their driveway. Would have been a whole hell of a lot easier, but que sera, sera. That's, you know, I can't force them to allow access to their property. I just thought Joyce was a better neighbor than that, but that's what I get for thinking. Anyway, like I say, it's all done, and now all I have to do is just kind of let this settle a little bit. At least I don't have to mow it for a while. But that's what's going on, and now we're going to go ahead and I'll edit in some video of the process and a few photos, and I'll be right back. Okay, here we're cutting the trees back there, and you can see the excavator back there working its way to the opening in my fence. I've been thinking about cutting that tree out for some time anyway, because it's been kind of leaning. And now I don't have to, because it's already cut. Now I'll be doing a little narrating here with along with the sounds from the dig. Anyway, they've gotten into the backyard now, and the dig has started. And the trench running up to the house there. Thankfully, they didn't even have to break the sidewalk. Now there's some of what was causing my problem, those roots. But they didn't have to break the sidewalk. I was afraid they'd have to, but they didn't. They just went under it. There apparently was still a pretty good piece of the terracotta tubing under there, terracotta piping, so they just pushed that aqua-colored piping through it, which made me happy, because that's just a lot less work that I'll have to do. And there's my new sewer pipe. I guess I could call it poop pipe if I wanted to be. Less than politically correct. And had quite a bit of groundwater in there. And they were thinking that there might have been a lateral, that hole on the right. They were thinking there might have been a septic system. And a little later on we'll see where they encountered what they think might have been the septic tank. And you can see some broken pieces of that terracotta pipe. You can see on the pile to the left there's a big chunk of it, and then there's a round circle off to the right. That's part of that piping. And you see they've got the new sewer pipe pretty much all assembled over there in the other part of the yard, bringing in gravel to line the trench with. I'm not entirely sure why they do that. It's probably some city code or something. Now here he is, and he's got that excavator straddled over the trench. I was looking at that going, how did he do that? But they're digging down now about 6 feet to the main city sewer line. And there he is going over the trench. This guy was a virtuoso with that excavator, at Takeuchi or something. Now here's how he gets off. Gets up away from the trench, or away from straddling the trench. He just puts that bucket down and uses it to support the rest of the machine, and there you go. Really pretty fascinating watching these guys work. Now the Y connection on that main sewer line was broken, so they had to put a pipe saddle on it, but that wasn't a big problem. They just had to dig down a little bit so they could get some clamps around the large city sewer pipe. And it wasn't all that big. It was only like 8 to 10 inches in diameter. I was surprised it wasn't any bigger than that. And there you can see they've got the gravel all piled up. And he straddled it again. I was really wondering how he did that. And again, you'll see that here shortly. Now here's the spot where you'll take another dig here, another scoop of dirt. And there'll be a concrete, kind of a big concrete slab right there. And that's what they were thinking was, well, when this house was first put in, maybe there was a septic system in there. And you can see that's a pretty substantial piece of masonry there. So they might be right. They might have had a septic system here when they first put this house in. Go that way, buddy. Go that way. So, these guys were all bilingual. They were all Hispanic. They spoke Spanish to each other, but, you know, spoke English perfectly well. have to say, these guys did a hell of a job. Now we're compacting the ground a little bit. Like I say, it was kind of a fascinating procedure watching these guys work and do what they do. But you can see the roots. It's just, there's so many roots. This place is just surrounded, as you can see, totally surrounded by trees. Which I like in some ways, and in some ways it's a big pain in the butt. Because the yard's always full of leaves and always full of branches and timbers. Now you're going to see how he gets this thing off of the trench, straddling it the way he has here. Very carefully, that's how he does it. You're good. Push the dirt back a little bit. And now they're dumping gravel. Now this fellow here in a red striped shirt is the city inspector from the City of Independence. You can see they put in a clean out just outside the house there. And the city inspector came out, looked everything over, gave him the thumbs up. And now we're going to do a speeded up version of covering everything up. So key the music. And now it's time for our little friend to leave the same way it came in. Down into the jungle it goes. Takeuchi. Sounds like sukiyaki. And this is kind of a utility access drainage area down in that little area behind the house, and it's always kind of a jungle down there. There's raccoons and everything else running around down there. And as you can see, it's kind of a muddy mess to work through. So when the guys come out to work on the cable or electrical stuff, they've got to wade through all that. And wrap up with some pictures. Okay, as you can see, it was quite the little operation. They had to dig down fairly deep, especially out there by the pole. It was a good 6 feet down to the main city sewer line, and the Y connection that goes into the main sewer city line was fractured. They were afraid that it might be, so it wasn't a big problem. They just put a pipe saddle on it and then filled it up with gravel. You saw them dumping the gravel, and covered everything over with their little nifty little excavator. And only thing left now is paying for this. Like I say, it's going to cost me about 10 grand, but Carl should be out probably tomorrow. It's probably a little late today. He's probably home enjoying his supper. But we'll settle up tomorrow and go from there. So for this sewery behind the scenes, this is Rod Shelley signing out and saying we'll catch you on the next one.